So let's begin with The Midnight Visitor. Now it is written by Robert Arthur. Now, Midnight Visitor, from the name itself, from the title itself, it is very clear we are talking about somebody, a visitor who comes in the midnight. Fine. And who comes in the midnight? We always say that the thieves come in the midnight. Yeah, very good. Thieves come in the middle of the night to steal something, or for some burglary, or that kind of activities. The criminal activities are done in the night. Possible, a secret agent is expecting to get a very important report. Now, this story runs about, it's about Ossible, Fowler, and Max. There are only three characters in the story. Ossible is a secret agent, so as is Max. Now, the difference between the two spies, the two detectives, the two secret agents is vast. Now, we are going to talk about Ossible, his abilities, as well as we are going to talk about Max, who is opposite. He's also a secret agent, but opposite in character. Now, Fowler is another character who is a reporter, and he wants to write a story for a magazine. For a to write about, he wants to write about a secret agent, how his life is, how he manages to find out the secrets. Possible, a secret agent is expected to get a very important report. Now he's going to get some important report, and Max is after that report. He, barges into the house of Possible, and he wants that report. Another secret agent, Max, threatens him with a pistol, demanding the report. Does Possible outwit him? Now this is the story about these two secret agents. Now, Possible, he outsmarts Max. Both are secret agents, but Possible, he is successful in saving the report. He doesn't hand over the report to him now, but how he does that, we are going to read in this chapter. Now, what we are going to read in this part of the story is, how is Ossible different from the other secret agents? Who is Fowler, and what is his first authentic drill of the day? Now, these two questions, these can be asked in the exams. These are like, you have unseen passages. We have question, read and find out. Now, this is sort of a unseen passage, and then the questions are given on the top. All the chapters are like that in this book. Ossible did not fit any description of a secret agent Fowler had ever read. Now, who is Fowler? You can underline this name. Fowler is a reporter. Now, he's a reporter. He wants to write about Ossible. Following him down the musty corridor of the gloomy French hotel where Ossible had a room, Fowler felt let down. Now, Fowler was feeling very sorry. He did not like, he was, moving with Ossible. He's going to his room to write a story. He wanted to ask some questions and write about Ossible. Now, musty corridor of the gloomy French hotel. Now, where this Ossible stays is in a very dingy place, in a small room which is not lavish. He doesn't have a big bungalow. So when Ossible was taking him to his room, Fowler was feeling let down because he did not expect a detective to be living like that. It was a small room on the sixth and top floor, and scarcely a setting for a romantic adventure. You can underline this line: small room, sixth and top floor, because these points you will require in long answers. Now, Ossible lived in a gloomy hotel in small room. It was on the sixth and then the top floor. Now, Fowler wanted to write about Ossible. He followed Ossible to his room to write about him, and the way to his room was not very good, was not impressive. So Fowler was, he thought of something very adventurous, but this did not happen, and he was, very sad. He was sad and depressed of when he was walking with Ossible. Ossible was, for one thing, fat, very fat. Now, when we call very fat, what is one word we can give for very fat is obese. He is not physically fit. He is quite a fat person, not like other secret agents. And then there was
Excuse me,
this.
ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
Becca? Yeah.
ma'am, what's the meaning of this line? And scarcely a get and scarcely a setting for a romantic.
and scarcely a setting for
Then
a
what the
romantic adventure. Now, when we watch movies, when we, think of detectives and all, we always have that in mind that they are, having cigar in their, they're tall, dark, handsome. They have cigar in their hands, and the beauties are moving around, and he's going to get some chit in his hand. Some beauty is going to come, and lady is going to come and give a chit in his hand, and he'll get some information. He had that in his mind, what we in movies
yes, ma'am.
see that. So it was not a setting of a romantic adventure. Fowler had that in his mind that he's going to, see this and witness this kind of adventure, but it was not like that. He found it to be totally opposite. That is why he was depressed, he was sad. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Possible was, for one thing, fat, very fat, and then there was his accent. Accent means the style of speaking. Though he spoke French and German passably, he had never altogether lost the American accent he had brought to Paris from Boston 20 years ago. Now, Ossible had been staying in Boston for quite a long time. Now, he could speak French and German, fine. He was comfortable speaking French and German, but he had this American accent while he was speaking, because he had been staying there for quite a long time, and you could make out that he has that touch of this American accent when he spoke. "You are disappointed," Ossible said wheezily over his shoulder. Now, Ossible, being fat, being obese, he could not breathe properly. Wheezily means when the person doesn't, is not able to breathe properly. There's a sound when he speaks, or when he, breathes. So he's asking, Ossible could make out that Fowler did not like this setting. He did not like where his house is. He could see the disappointment on his face. So Ossible tells Fowler, "You are disappointed. You were told that I was a secret agent, a spy dealing in espionage and danger. You wish to meet me because you are a writer, young and romantic. You envision mysterious figures in the night, the crack of pistols, drugs in the wine." Now, this is what we are talking about, scarcely a setting for a romantic adventure. Now, Fowler did expect this to happen. He thought of, having guns and, encountering criminals. He had that in his mind. Now, Possible could make out that Fowler expected all these things and this did not happen, and so he was disappointed. Instead, you have spent a dull evening in a French music hall with a sloppy fat man who, instead of having messages slipped into his hand by dark eyed beauties, gets into a prosaic telephone call, making an appointment in his room. "You have been bored." Now, these lines have been said by Ossible. He said that you thought that there's a dark eyed beauty is going to come, a beautiful lady is going to come and send, giving a slip in my hand, and then you will have this, sound of guns and all is going to happen. But to your disappointment, this did not happen at all, and you could prosaic telephone call means a casual telephone call you could hear, because a small casual somebody called up and wanted an appointment in his room, and you were a little disappointed. Ossible is telling Fowler that you got disappointed on just seeing the casual telephone call and making an appointment in the room. "You have been bored." The fat man chuckled to himself as he unlocked the door of his room and stood aside to let his frustrated guest enter. Now, who is the frustrated guest here? Fowler. Now, why he is frustrated? Because he did not expect such things. He expected, a totally different atmosphere of this Ossible, the spy agent. "You are disillusioned," Ossible told him. Take cheer, my young friend. Presently, you will see a paper, a quite important paper." Now, you are disillusioned means Ossible is trying to convince him that you are not. You had a very different thought. It was all you know. Fancy thoughts you had in your mind. But cheer up, don't worry, you'll have something exciting coming up. Presently, you will see a paper, a very important paper, which several men and women have risked their lives come to me. Now, he says that one paper is going to come to me, don't worry. you'll have the thrill of your life. Some days soon, that paper may well affect the course of history. Now, Osibel is giving him some information about some paper which is going to come, and he's going to receive in the middle of the night. In that thought is drama, is there not? Now he's saying that you'll have a thrill of your life because of some paper is going to arrive at my house at midnight, and it is going to change the course of history, so you will experience what you want here. As he spoke, Osibel closed the door behind him. Then he switched on the light. Now they had entered. Now you can see this fat man is Osibel, and this is the writer coming inside. As soon as he switches on the light, he could see, somebody had already barged in the house. Somebody has already entered in the house, and with a pistol. As he spoke, Osibel closed the door behind him. Then he switched on the light. And as the light came on, Fowler had his first authentic thrill of the day. For half across the room, a small automatic pistol in his hand, stood a man. Osibel blinked a few times. Max? He wheezed. You gave me quite a start. I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing here in my room? Now, here the first part of the story completes, and in the beginning we had read the two questions. What was the authentic thrill of the day? Now, what was the first authentic thrill? What did the Fowler experience for the first time? That as soon as he entered into a room, he could see someone standing with a pistol in his hand. That was the first thrill. He could never imagine that as soon as he will enter a locked room, he will see someone standing with the pistol. And from here, Osibel blinked a few times. Max, he's calling out the other person with the pistol, calling with the name Max. This shows that Osibel knew him very well. You gave me quite a start means he was shocked to see suddenly. If you see someone in your room and you also get startled, you also get confused, you also get puzzled, and you are shocked. I thought you were in Berlin. Now Osibel expected Max to be in Berlin, but now he's little surprised to him in his room. So what are you doing here in my room? Now in the next part we are going to read about how has Max got in? Now, how this fellow, the newcomer, the Max, the other spy agent, has entered into his room because the room was locked. How does Osibel say he got in? Now, how Osibel tells him that how he must have gotten. Now, both these two questions are going to create the a little thrill in the story. A different twist is going to come here. Max was slender, a little less than tall, with features that suggested slightly the crafty, pointed countenance of a fox. Countenance of a fox means he has the cunning features. Fox is a cunning animal, we call. So this Max is little cunning. He's now the physical appearance. He's not fat. He's not obese like Osibel. He's slender. He's thin, and a little less than tall, with features. He had good height. It is not that we can call him tall, but he was average height, with features that suggested slightly the crafty, pointed countenance of a fox. With his features on his face, we could, he had the cunning look on his face. There was about him, aside from the gun, nothing specially menacing. Now, he was not a threat to Max and, Osibel and Fowler, but only the gun was the threat because he had a gun in his hand which he could shoot them. The report, he murmured. Now, who is he here? Max. Max wants the report which is with Osibel. Now, he wants the report. The report that is being brought to you tonight concerning some new missiles. I thought I would take it from you. It will be safer in my hand than in yours. Now, he reveals why he has entered, why he has barged into the house. He says Max is asking Osibel for the report about the new missiles. He wanted that report. Now he says it is safer in my hand. You give it to me. Osibel moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. I'm going to raise the devil with the management this time. Now see, within this time when he was asking, Max was asking for the report, and report has yet to arrive. Osibel was so smart that he had started crafting a story in his mind. He started, calculating how he is going to get rid of the situation. Osibel moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. I'm going to raise the devil with the management this time, and you can bet on it. Now, raise the devil with the management this time means because he has entered, he has crafted a story. Now he is going to talk to the management of the place where he's staying, that how can somebody enter into his house. Now he has already calculated, made up a story in his mind to fool Max. This is the second time in a month that somebody has got into my room through that nuisance of a balcony. Now he's expressing his, disgust. He's expressing his disappointment that no, this management has not done the work and they have not closed this balcony. And this is the second time somebody has barged into his house. Fowler's eyes went to the single window of the room. It was an ordinary window against which now the night was pressing blackly. Now it was midnight. It was, quite late in the night. It was pitch dark outside, and there was only one window. And Fowler, because Fowler did not know about this story of a balcony, or he had never been to Ossible's house, he was looking at the single window of the room when Ossible was talking about that somebody had entered through the balcony. Balcony? Max said with a rising inflection. Now, Max had not entered through the balcony. We can make out from this his expression that he was, a little surprised. There was balcony here? No, a pass key. I did not know about the balcony. Now, Max is familiar with the Ossible, so he says, no, I have not entered through the balcony. I used a master key. I had a pass key. It might have saved me from some trouble had I known. Now he said that I had a great problem in, finding out the key for your room. If I had known that there was a balcony, I would have, very nicely, very easily come from that way. Now Ossible replies, it's not my balcony. Ossible said with extreme irritation, it belongs to the next apartment. He glanced explanatorily at Fowler. Now he's talking about he's talking about that balcony. He's saying that it is not my balcony, it belongs to the next apartment. You see, this room used to be part of a large unit. Please underline these sentences. This room used to be part of the large unit, and the next room through the door there used to be the living room. Now he's explaining about that balcony, he's explaining about that door. It had the balcony which extends under my window now. Now he said this was a big room and it has been divided into two rooms now, and there was a balcony under my window. You can get onto it from the empty room two doors down, and somebody did last month. Now this is a whole story he has created to fool Max. He told that we had a balcony, and last month also somebody had come to this balcony. Now, why he created this story, we are going to come to know at the end of the chapter. The management promised to block it off, but they haven't. Now, why he was saying that I will raise the devil against the management this time was he had already complained that somebody barged into his house. Now, he has explained how this balcony had been there and how people come through that balcony. So he says that he had already told the management to close that, to block it, but they haven't. Max glanced at Fowler, who was standing stiffly not far from Ossible, and waved the gun with a commanding gesture. Commanding gesture means now Max had gun in his hand, so he was telling them to please sit down. Fowler was, he had never faced any kind of such situation, so he was a little scared also. So Max pointed the gun towards him and in a gesture told him to sit down. Please sit down, he said. We have a wait of half an hour, I think. Now Max already knew the time when the report is going to arrive. He says, you can sit down, we have half an hour. Half an hour means 30 minutes. 31 minutes, Ossible said moodily. Now, Ossible is very smart. From here also, you can, a character trait, you can write it down here itself that he was very calculative. He was, very precise in things. He knew what exactly is going to happen. When Max says 30 minutes, he says, no, it is 31 minutes. He had already calculated the time. Whatever story he was creating, he was very, he was very meticulous. He was very organized. He knew what he's going to do and how much time he calculates everything. 31 minutes, Ossible said moodily. The appointment was for 12:30. Now you can imagine the time. It is midnight, 12 o'clock. Now he says The appointment is for 12:30. I wish I knew how you learned about the report, Max. Now, Ossible is also very surprised how Max had come to know that the report is going to arrive here. Ossible is going to receive that report at, this time in the middle of the night. The little spy smiled evilly. Now, evil, you understand? Now he was smiling. He's already, a cunning person. Max is a little cunning, and he was smiled evilly. And we wish we knew how your people got the report, but no harm has been done. I'll get it back tonight. What is that? Who is at the door? Now, when his Max is talking, he's what Max is saying here is. When Ossible says, I don't know, I'm a little surprised how you came to know about the report. Max says that even I'm surprised how your people have managed to get that report. Now it's no problem, no harm. I'm going to take it back today. And by the time when he was talking, while he was talking, there was a knock at the door. I will get it back tonight. Who is that? Who is at the door? Now this time when he's speaking, he was talking to Ossible. Max was talking to Ossible. There was a knock at the door. Fowler jumped at the sudden knocking at the door. Ossible just smiled. Now, why Ossible just smiled? Because it is all the plan is planned by Ossible. He knew what is going to happen. He's very calculative. He knew how to get rid of Max. Now, when there was a knock at the door, now Fowler got scared. Now, because he had never been in such situation, Ossible just smiled. That will be the police, he said. I thought that such an important paper as the one we are waiting for should have a little extra protection. I told them to check on me to make sure everything was all right. Now, Ossible, when there was a knock at the door, Max was asking who is at the door. Fowler got, sudden, he was a little scared. He jumped from his chair. Ossible smiled and told that will be the police because such an important paper, such an important report on missiles was going to arrive. So I had already told the police to keep a check on me. Max bit his lip nervously. Now, here he was nervous because he never thought this is going to happen. Max was a little nervous. Now, being a secret agent, he was nervous. This is the negative trait of Max, that he was he was not particular about things. He did not calculate, what can happen and how he's going to overcome that. And his being nervous is not a good sign of being a secret agent. The knocking was repeated. What will you do now, Max? Ossible asked. Now, Ossible is very smart. He said, what will you do now, Max? Police is there at the door. If I do not answer the door, they will enter anyway. The door is unlocked and they will not hesitate to shoot. Now, he says, door is not locked, and if I do not open the door now, police will barge into it. Police is going to break the door and enter. And they are going to shoot because they will anyway, think that there is some threat inside. Max's face was black with anger as he backed swiftly towards the window. Now Max got a little scared and he was angry. What is happening now? He swung a leg over a sill. Send them away, he warned. I will wait on the balcony. Now the story had been created to fool Max, as Ossible had already created a story. Now Max wanted to escape through the balcony because he had come to know that there is a balcony outside. Then there's a single window. Now one leg he puts outside and one is inside, and he's hanging there on the window. Send them away or I'll shoot and take my chances. Now he said, I'll take my chance, I'll shoot. The knocking at the door became louder and the voice was raised. Mr. Ossible, Mr. Ossible. Now somebody was calling from outside, Mr. Ossible, Mr. Ossible, and Max thought it was police. And Ossible had created a story. He knew very well who is outside. Keeping his body twisted so that his gun still covered the fat man and his guest, the man at the window grasped the frame with his free hand to support himself. Then he swung his other leg over the windowsill. You can see in this picture how he was hanging himself on that window and he wanted to escape through the balcony, and he's pointing the gun towards Ossible. Now see the face, the anger has been shown here. This Fowler is a little scared and he's very cool, he's calm, he's sitting nicely and happy. He's smiling. The doorknob turned. Doorknob turned means the door was about to open. Swiftly, Max pushed his left leg to free himself from the sill and dropped to the balcony. And then, as he dropped, he screamed once shrilly. The door opened and the waiter stood there with a tray, a bottle, and two glasses. Now, when the door opened, who came inside? Who came inside? Waiter. Now, who was the waiter?
Waiter.
Waiter. Osable already knew that there is a waiter. He must have ordered something because the guest was there, because Fowler had come. So he had already ordered, wine for him. Here is the drink you ordered for when you returned, he said, and set the tray on the table, deftly uncorked the bottle and left the room. Now, the waiter keeps the tray on the table. He says, sir, you ordered this and it is here. And he moves out. White-faced Fowler stared after him. Now, why Fowler was staring? Because he could now understand how Ossible had, outwit that Max, and how he was, how his intelligence had helped him to fool the other secret agent. But he stammered. The but now what he stammered means when you're not able to speak a complete sentence properly. But now he did not know what to speak. There was no police Ossible side now, because he could see the expression on Fowler's face that he's confused. Ossible says there was no police outside, only Henry. Now Henry is the name of the waiter. You can underline, because sometimes they ask. This time in the boards they had asked who was waiting outside, who was knocking the door. It was Henry, the waiter, who was knocking, whom I was expecting. Ossible knew that because he had been staying in that hotel, he knew that how much time a waiter is going to take. He knew, he had already calculated the service provided by that hotel, maybe, whom I was expecting. But won't that man out on the balcony? Fowler began. Now he says that that man is in the balcony, that Max had jumped to the balcony. No, said Ossible, he won't return. You see, my young friend, there is no balcony. Now here the twist comes, that Fowler is still thinking about Max, who is there in the balcony. Ossible completes his sentence and says, no, there's no balcony, my dear friend. Because why there's no balcony? Because this whole story was created to fool Max, because Ossible is a very smart, intelligent person. He knew as soon as he saw there was some intruder in the room, he had calculated everything. Within seconds he had made up his mind. He had knew how to get rid of Max. He knew that some important report is coming and he need to escape this problem, this threat, the Max. Now the story was written by Robert Arthur. You understood the story?